Facts.
Let's get into it, bro. Let's get into some of these player props as we go.
Yeah,
When we talk
yeah,
about, oh,
yeah.
be careful. These are the smashes. Like
These are the smashes.
let's start talking about some player props. And obviously, this is a good time, right? OTAs are happening. Training camp is on the way. And for those who are interested, right, in season long, this is a longer term bet, but a lot of these are easier to actually go through in place. Like to me, this is the type of, you had enough information in order to make a decision. When
Right.
you're looking at season-long props, Marcus, is there anything you just like? Because for me, I'd be looking at like, all right, undervalued, overvalued. I'm only looking for value. I'm not looking at like, I think this player is going to have a mega year. I'm like, where are the odds makers wrong? Is there anything that you'd be looking for when you're looking at these like props and these lines?
Yeah, definitely. If I'm going yardage, I'm definitely looking for where I feel like guys are wrong, or guys that might have had maybe a little down year last year, depending on injuries they were dealing with, or guys hurt, or they might have had a new coach added, and are kind of primed for a big year.
Yep.
And then on top of that, I'm looking for, I'm normally not going with whoever the favorite is, right? I'm looking for that guy that's maybe that next tier down that nobody's really talking about, where I can get some really good odds on that one and make some, make a nice little come up, right? Obviously,
you mentioned odds. So are you looking for like, are you looking for plus odds? You looking for, you know what I mean? Like where you're able to get, maybe a lower value for like a higher amount, right? So are you looking for, I need to 3x my money on this bet? Or are you looking for a straight bet where maybe you got to pay a little bit of juice?
No, I'm looking for a 3Xer. You know what I mean? I'm looking for something where I can kind of 3X, especially on a season long. It really doesn't make sense. It's a long wait if you got, $10 in there. You know what I mean? And so if I can at least, if I can X my money, 3 or 4 times, I'm good with that as far as, especially the season long. I'm looking for maybe a less of that if I'm going just on a single game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And trying to add up a few singles, then, it kind of works itself out that way. But
talk to me. What's one you looking at, bro? You got anything you're looking at right now? Give me one.
Yeah, there's one I'm looking at specifically for the offensive rookie of the year. This is a big one. I think a lot of people are high on Genty, right? Which is, I like Genty as a running back. I just don't think he has the offensive line behind him to really push him where he needs to be.
We on the same page with Genty.
I also like Cam Ward, right? But, I don't think he has the tools. I think them getting rid of that running back, the best running back in football.
Yeah.
I think Derrick Henry being gone is going to hurt him in his development on the running game. And I think he's going to throw a lot of interceptions. I do think he will be a successful rookie. I think that he will throw for a good amount of yards. I just don't see him doing what he needs to do. Also being in Tennessee, I don't know if that's the market to really get the popularity behind, right? A lot of these times it's a popularity contest. Who's hot, right? Who's making the big plays, right? And one guy that stands out to me is Travis Hunter.
Ooh, so rookie of the year, offensive defense.
Offensive rookie of the year.
Offensive?
Right? Offensive. And here's the thing, right? Because it's not expected. Right, it's not expected, and I think that with the breakout year that their other receiver had, Brian
Thomas.
Brian Thomas, yeah, the breakout year he had last year. Travis is not going to be the focal point. He's going to get an opportunity to get in the slot. Be that second guy, be the third guy, right? Where teams might not be focused on you. And make some big plays, right? And I think that, his playmaker ability and being able to make big plays, playing opposite of another big-time receiver who I think is a better receiver than him, right? And so if you got a guy that's better than you, right, it gives you that opportunity to kind of, hang out in the shadows, you know what I mean, get a couple packages. And I think when he's in on offense, I think they're going to get on the ball.
Man, they've been saying he's looking kind of sloppy in some of his routes, and I think that's another thing too. OTAs don't define the season.
I mean, they said that about Jamar Chase. right?
Ooh,
I
they
remember
did.
I remember when they said he couldn't catch, and I'm like, how do you watch this college film and tell me that this guy can't catch because of 2 weeks of practice, right? And so the thing is, it's really about learning your teammates, learning the playbook. Travis Hunter was the number one recruit in high school for a reason, right? He was the Heisman Trophy winner for a reason. He's a playmaker. When the lights are on, when the play is needed, he gonna make a play. You know what I mean? And that's who he's been his entire life. And I see him now being the second tier, right? You're not the main guy,
Right.
right? And I think
Right.
that his main position really is cornerback, right? But at the same time, I think there will be a package for him on offense that when he does come in the game, they will be looking for him, right? And when he comes in the game and they're looking for him, I just see plays being made.
I think Travis Hunter is going to be the one problem I have with him. I like the bet. I like if you're gonna, especially if you're getting decent odds on it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that he'll be a little inconsistent. But the
Mm-hmm.
thing with inconsistency is that if you have 2 or 3 big weeks, that negates all inconsistency because the numbers will be there at the end.
The numbers will be there. You get a big finish. You know what I mean? And that, and I think similar to his Heisman, right? There were better receivers. There were better corners. But who's doing it both?
Who's doing it both?
Who's doing it both? You know what I mean? And so I think, even if he's not the best rookie receiver, there might be rookie receivers with better numbers. They're going to say, yeah, but he's playing corner too. He got to be.
A lot of people really like Ted McMillan out of Carolina. A lot of people are looking at some of these other, players, Jack Besh, and there's like a lot of underrated Kyle Williams. There's a lot of underrated receivers this year, but Travis he already has the star power, and sometimes star power carries you a long way. Exactly. Odell, Jefferson.
Yeah.
A rookie I like. A rookie I like this year, not for rookie of the year, but just as a prop, right? 649 and a half yards, 649 and a half for Quinshon Judkins. Now, he was the college football, the athlete, right? The spin move. That's what you saw all over for the game. But in real life, he had I would say call it a subpar season for what people expected him in college. Now he goes to a Cleveland Browns team that Nick Chubb's gone. They're not re-signing Nick Chubb. And so really all you got to do is beat out Jerome Ford for touches. And I don't think the Cleveland Browns are like, hey, we're going to win a championship this year with their quarterback situation that they have rocking with Shador and Dylan Gabriel and Joe Flacco, whoever else is there, right?
Right.
So I think what this team is going to do is run the football. And if we're talking about 12 to 15 carries a game, if he can stay healthy for, 15 to 16 games out the year, under 700 yards rushing for potentially a starting running back, that's absurd. Right. He can get that in 10, 12 games, if he has the right type of game. So for me, I don't think they're going to ask their quarterbacks to do too much. Maybe if it's Flacco, they ask him to open things up. But for me, Quinshon Judkins, if he wins the starting role or earns a bigger workload, under 700 yards to me is a gift. So I really like that play there.
I like that play as well.
What else you got on the agenda?
Have a nice year. I think he's gonna have a nice year. Another one.
Ohio State back. You know what I'm saying? We've seen like Zeke come in and do well. Like he's gonna be nice.
Yeah, no, I think he's gonna be nice, real nice. So what else I got? I got Penix and Fields on the over. Right. I think they got those guys going around at or around 3,000. I think Penix or Fields, they got him throwing for 2,400. And I just feel like
Michael Penix and Justin Fields.
Yeah, Michael Penix and Justin Fields. I think they both are at or below 3,000 yards, and I just see those guys having breakout years. I think Fields jumping around a little bit. Is definitely, he's kind of under the radar now, right? He doesn't have that focal point of that first round draft pick. He's kind of like almost forgotten a little bit. And
they got Fields at 2,575, and they got Michael Penix closer to 3,400. So
okay, they got Michael Penix at 34. Okay, so I still see him going over that. And Fields for sure is a slam dunk. I think he's definitely clearing that. Being the guy.
You like Fields this year? Because that was one of my – I've been talking all offseason. I feel like he's about to smash ADP wise, expectations wise for this Jets team, people are still like putting Fields in this weird boat of like he's not good. I don't understand it.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, the teams that are trading for him want him. You know, I think what Brett Favre was able to do over there, or not Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, same
was
shit,
able,
right?
Yeah, right. I think what he was able to do over there, I think he could definitely match it, right? He's got the young, you know what I mean, the young legs, his ability to run and extend plays. That's just what you need in today's game, right? And I think that he's definitely going to smash his over-under.
Well, I like that because when you pair that with a Breece Hall, somebody who's dynamic out the backfield, you pair that with a Garrett Wilson, one of the better receivers in the league, and you know that Justin Fields has already proven that he can be a startable type of player. It's like, well, why are we not expecting this kid to kill it? And especially when it comes to passing yards, I don't understand why. I mean, they're bringing over some stuff from the Lions, which we saw Jared Goff be really good in that system. They're saying they believe in him all the way. It's not like a Steelers situation where he has to compete and worry about a backup. So if he's healthy throughout the year, and we're talking 2,500 yards, like to me, it seems like he should be able to smash that. I think the way he wouldn't is if he gets hurt. But I mean, we're talking about 150 yards a game.
Right.
Well, with that too, I also like somebody else on the Jets, and that's Garrett Wilson. Right, Garrett Wilson, his touchdown number is at 4.5. And I feel like this is an extension of that Justin Fields type thing. You're like, Garrett Wilson, his first 2 years in the league, had 3 and 4 touchdowns. And he had 7 last year with Aaron Rodgers. But that was also with Devontae Adams. This is also Garrett Wilson's 4th year in the league. He's also going to be the only receiver damn near on this offense. And, you know, I look at what Justin Fields was able to do with DJ Moore, and I'm like, 4.5 touchdowns? Yeah, maybe with Zach Wilson, that was the appropriate number. But that's not the appropriate number with a Justin Fields. And I think it's disrespecting Garrett Wilson as a player, and it's not aligning with the situation. This is a different situation in New York right now. And I feel like Garrett Wilson should have, I mean, like I said, it wasn't there the first 2 years, but he's developed as a player since then.
No, definitely development. I see him having a great year, especially more than 4. I mean, that's low.
Yeah, that's super low, bro. Super low.
Yeah.
Give me one more. You got another one? Give me one more.
I got one
last one, bro.
You know, here's one that I'm going against what I would normally do.
Uh-oh.
Right?
This ain't normally good though.
Right.
You can't go against the grain.
It's not as disciplined as I am, right? And this is also a little emotional betting, right? Which you don't want to get in the habit of doing this, right? But I felt so bad for Lamar Jackson losing the MVP last year. I just feel like he's a shoo-in, right? I feel like that the Ravens are the team to beat in the AFC. The way their year ended, I think people are going to feel bad knowing that he should have got the MVP last year and almost give him that sympathy vote because I think he's going to continue to just kill the league like he's been doing. And, you know, I think he has the best odds to win the MVP unless they feel some kind of sympathy like Joe Burrow might need it next, right? But I think what he's able to do on the ground and in the air year in and year out, knowing he has a great team around him, he's going to get the wins. He's got a running game. They just re-signed Derrick Henry to a big-time deal, so he's happy. You get a happy running back. You know, I just don't see anybody stopping him from doing whatever he needs to do, right? 4 touchdown games, 5 touchdown games. I see him getting the MVP.
Well, you're getting decent odds on that, plus 550, plus 600, depending on where you're looking at. He's one of those players, though, like you said, there's not a lot of sometimes when you bet MVP, you want to look for like extra juice, right? You want to look for like, who can have that surprise season and like really take it.
Right.
Sometimes it is better to just go with like the favorites.
Right.
Like that's what wins most of the time is somebody in that top 3 or top 5 odds. That's typically the guys who win it. Vegas isn't normally that far off. So I'm actually not mad at that. And I think Lamar and this Ravens team, they're going to be out for blood this year, man. They're going to be out for blood, especially losing the AFC Championship the way they did and losing the last couple of years the way that they have.
No, definitely.
Yeah. All right, let me get one more. I got one more in here.
Yeah.
And this is a player I've been talking up a lot over the years. And I think it's his time. And I think when it comes to the Detroit Lions, like everybody is assuming Amon-Ra St. Brown is the hitter, and he's the guy that everybody is going for. But Jameson Williams dealt with that suspension a couple years ago, torn ACL a year before that in college. Like, there's a lot that kid's been going through, but you've been hearing nothing but positive rave reviews coming out of camp about Jameson Williams and his impact this year. New offensive coordinator in there, new passing game coordinator, excuse me. I think things will change a little bit. Ben Johnson is now gone, so new offensive coordinator. There's a little bit of a change here in this offense, and they've talked about how he's had a strong offseason, and you talked about this, and I also have had a conversation with Sammy Coates, former NFL wide receiver, and he said one of the things you want to look at is like what's the change in their dynamic in their situation, but also like changes to their body. And it sounds like he's gotten a lot stronger this offseason. And if you pair that up with his elite speed that he already has at the wide receiver position, this could make for a really big year. He had a strong year last year, but 874 yards is on the board right now. And I feel like this is going to be 1,000-yard season for Jameson Williams with the way they're talking up. So give me the over on his receiving yards. Jameson Williams over 874 yards receiving.
Yeah, I'm taking that over too. I like that over.
You like that one?
I like that one, man. I think, he's going to have a big year. For me personally, I wouldn't put my money on that one only because I don't have the history and the knowledge behind the new OC, right? I don't know, what his scheme is. I don't know what he likes to do. I don't know if he focuses in on a guy, if he spreads the ball out, how they like to do that. So that's still a great year. Anything over that, I think will be a great year for him. And so it's kind of hard to say, but I do like the camaraderie he's built with golf, and I think they do.
He had 1,000 yards last season, so I'm like, he cracked 1,000 yards last year. I don't see why he doesn't replicate that, especially if they were saying for the Lions staff to be like, oh no, he's gonna have a breakout year, and he had 1,000 last year. I'm like, shit, he might blow 1,000 out the water.
Right.
And so for me, I listen a lot to what these coaches say, especially because a player that was like that last year, Rashad Bateman. There was all out of camp. They're like, yo, Rashad Bateman's got a big year. Rashad Bateman's got a big year. And guess what? He did. He became a part of the offense. I listen to shit like that. To me, that's value.
Right. No, that's super value. And I think, honestly, if they tell you, you know what I mean, and if they're being public about it, then it's for sure whether he has a big year or not, they're going to do everything in their power for him to have that big year, right? So if they're putting it out there, they're definitely they got the plays in line for him, you know what I mean? And I think it's good to listen to the coaches. I think the guys in the locker room who know what's going on, I think those are the best people to look for or listen to, right? I think sometimes during the season, they say things that kind of throw other teams off. So you can't get 100% behind it. But I think in the off season, things like that and what they want to do, I think you definitely want to look at what they're saying.
And Dan Campbell's believable, right? Like, he's a former player. He talks with a passion. Like, when he says something, normally there's some substance behind it. Because, you can go to other teams like the Atlanta Falcons, who every year they say Kyle Pitts is about to be MVP candidate. He don't ever do shit.
Right.
So, I don't know, man.
They about to get rid of him or what? He on the trading block?
They said he on a trading block. I don't know. Kyle Pitts, man. I've been a big Kyle Pitts fan too, bro.
Yeah.